Well, good evening. I'm your host, Robert Wilson, with Cowboy Wisdom Podcast and Cowboy Wisdom Hypno Acuity, presenting 7 ways why I erased my conquering ego. I now realize as soon as I say or think conquer, fight, war triggers my ancestors' attack mode, my overthinking about what somebody did or what I was going to do to somebody. And what that does is just completely shuts off any type of liberation or moving forward. It puts me in my yesterdays, and it put me into my ancestors' third world uh, mindsets of I must win at all costs. And what happens is it activates all the emotions, the feelings, and all the subconscious frozen in time representations. And we live in a conquering ego in the world today. All the wars in the world are from a conquering ego. I must conquer this guy. I must conquer this. Where's all this conquering got us besides more war, more hate, anger, jealousy, everything? You can never listen within the conquering ego. And the conquering ego has many things. I'm always right. It has to be my way. Look at me. I'm somebody special, and all the unsavory binds the mind in yesterday's dismay bullshit. That's all it does. And when you get into the think, conquer, fight, war, it triggers everything you're going to do to somebody else. And the one you leave out of it is your dreams, your entire desired lifestyle, your intention, all the good in your life. And the world lives a conquering ego. We've lived it since the beginning of time. And the more educated we become, we just dummy down the conquering ego. We think we're doing good, but where are we at in the world today? And something I realize is the world is more corrupt than any time in history. There's as many wars going on, or the ones we know about, as any time in history. You don't know, every place, every country has upheaval going on in it. And if you think this country don't, you're bullshitting yourself. And all we think about is what we're going to get. And all the war is big money. That's something people got to understand. War, conquer, fight, all that stuff is a money making mindset. War is an industry. And you'd be surprised at the people that are involved in industrial military complex. One person told us never to get into the industrial military complex, and that was Dwight D. Eisenhower. Every country that's ever went into the military industrial complex and fiat currency has went busted, has went broke and dissolved, or had some severe things. And do we have fiat currency? Yes, we do. That doesn't matter. It's what are we going to do? Because when you go into the conquering mindset and the hate and the war and all this, all you're doing is activating all your unsavory thoughts, hate, jealousy, thinking what you're going to do to somebody, envy, coveting what other people have. And it has the subconscious mind in a fight, conquer, and war frozen in time representations. You're thinking about war, never about communicating a better way forward. All the wars in the world, and we've never settled anything. We got rid of a few dictators. But of course, some dictators, when you start looking at it, they were put in power by somebody on purpose. And, if you look through some of our history, you're going to see where some business people in this country got caught doing business with Hitler. See, it's just when you get up into that swirling, sabotaging world up there where people don't matter. All that matters is money. All you get is into the malarkey of the world. And I just saw something on the internet where somebody, oh, we learned so much at this conference about the money at the top is generated by unsavory acts on the people. One thing the world still hasn't understood: conquer, war, pillage, plunder is war on the people. We've never had the courage or the audacity or the wisdom to understand we could have a peaceful world, but our enslaved third world mindsets from a silent society that wants to control the world through war, pillage, plunder, and fiat currency. See, there is so much going on right in front of us that we never see it because we're stuck in our ancestors' third world enslaving, warmongering mindsets. And, if you listen to some of the higher ups and some of the CEOs, they think the people of the United States owe them something and we're slaves to them. The thing about this is you got to just talk plain. You got to unwind the plain talking to get rid of the termite bullshit that's being spewed to us. Education of the world is nothing but a limiting, medicating manipulation of what everybody else thinks. When you rise above everything and you start witnessing the world through wisdom, insight, clarity, understanding, but questioning what's going on and listening to the world, you're gonna hearken the liberating invitation, streaming, trend-setting, enterprising, rebellious, adventurous nerve to rise out of it. The world will rise when the people rise out of the overthinking, stinking mind of a third world enslaving mindset. And the more I rise of this and the more I awaken to it, the more I understand we were taught revenge, thinking, jealousy, hate, and envy from the beginning of time. And I know somebody that had, I like to say had, but still has it. It's this guy. Sometimes he's wise, sometimes he's, like cartoons. Sometimes I'm the Roadrunner, sometimes I'm the coyote. And the poor coyote. He's kind of like the American and the world people. We keep doing the same thing, trying the same thing, but we get different things, but we get the same results. How does the world mirror the Roadrunner and the coyote? We keep letting the people, the secret society, do our thing, and we keep trying to pull these little manufacture all these little things to get rid of them, but all we ended up is a kaboom. Then we ended up in a kaboom. That's the thing. Life mirrors a coyote and the Roadrunner. It really does. And the thing about it is, we keep doing the same thing over and over again, but we're expecting different results. And something I've noticed over the last, since the early 80s, actually, the education system has silently and conveniently and on purpose took away the wisdom of the world. When they took away cursive writing and stuff like that, they're not for the people. And the more I'm around these marketers and stuff, the more my eyes open to how marketing smart they are, but they're never wise about the way of the world. See, when you teach education, you take away the wisdom and the wise of people because you put them on a pathway of indoctrinated education, which is a medicated manipulation of people's thinking. As long as I can get you to think the way I want you to do, and I emphasize thinking and knowing, I conquered you. And see, once they can get us into their conquering thinking, knowing, they conquered us without doing anything. And then we do the hippity hop and the scotch to follow what the people are doing. Yes, I have done that. And yes, I am doing that. That's why I go splat. But I'm awakening to it to rise out of it. Because, see, we have an ancestor trained brain binded in yesterday, and we trained our brain to hear what other people think we should do. You can never listen and hear other people at the same time. You listen internally, streaming treasures, expanding the now. And that's something I never understood. I thought listening was for it was for the egotistical me's. As I listen for the liberated me, magically expanding through life. I'm really starting to understand. I've been the roadrunner a lot in my life. But you know what? Admitting it to get rid of it makes it liberating for me. But you know, something I understand now is when I think in conquering control, I shut off listening, questioning, and inspiration because everything is up here. Whatever stays up here turns into sabotaging sneers within me. Whenever I listen, it comes from there. Everything rises out of the core, chandeliers of ourselves illuminating up through our crown chakra to the world. So I'm awakened and aware of the dare to erase my conquering ego because I now understand and esteem. History repeats itself because the world leadership lacks the wisdom to communicate present moment discomfort because we understand because we go into our thinking, knowing, memory, mind, and instantly we go to conquer, war, pillage, plunder, and all the thunder-headed stuff you can think of. See, the world leaders have no communication. They can only communicate with that conquering ego and know-it-all, egotistical ignorance, and tells them because there is no map in any of us for peace. There is no internal map. And that's why therapy and all that stuff, people get temporarily out of something, but there is no internal map. The map is a magical sending prowess within us. We have no map for peace, prosperity. And see, sometimes we get lucky in the real world and people are saying it's this, but do we really have a map inside us for peace, prosperity, communication? No. People can say what they want and all this, but I always watch people's body language before I listen to them to see whether they're telling me a bag of bullshit or they're enlightening me. And most of the time, it's a bag of BS. And when I was on a summit 2 years ago, and this one lady says, "Yeah, I wake up every morning to see what's wrong with the world." And I thought, if you're looking for what's wrong in the world, you play the gong song of bongs, the bong gong song of everything is wrong forever. Everything in the front of me is in a proper motion. It's up to me to figure out the motion and trust I can and listen to the enlightenment of the mess. See, the messy mysteries of life is my liberating invitations to move me out of this conquering ego filled with selfish fascism. That's what most of our leaders are. The world leaders are blocked in their conquering ego filled with selfish fascism, wanting to control the people in the world with their enslaving mindset. The more I awaken to this, and I listen to people around the world that are supposed to be the super gurus, the more I understand the selfish fascism. The thing about it is you can have all the economy you want, but unless the people see a path forward for themselves, and what did we do? What is this border bringing in? It's bringing in fentanyl. It's showing a people, this is kind of cold, but we've been conquered by an outside source. Back before the free trade and all this come in, this country was sovereign and you had some common sense and some wisdom in the world. Now all you got is everybody's looking for a convenient and a handout from the government. Don't pick me, I've had them. And the biggest ones are the corporations. Don't let any of them Wall Street's knuckleheads tell you, oh, the people. There's nobody in the world got more government handouts than Wall Street and the corporations of America. See, corporate America is socialism. Oh, we're in a bind. We'll go sit in front of Congress and we'll give them some campaign contributions and we'll get everything we want. And that's why the world is marred in third world dictator enslaving mindsets. They know money buys them whatever they want. See, it's never the money. It's the seedy greediness of people, the CEOs of corporations. They get that holier than thou attitude that I'm special. And then usually they end up in special. Look at Madoff. And a couple other ones. But see, something I'm really understanding is we've tried a lot of things in this world, but we still live in the conquering ego, egotistical, arrogant stubbornness, and know-it-all ignorance, hard-headedness. I'm educated. I am a CEO. I'm special. Here's to all you special people out there. When you pass away, are you going to take all that with you? But here's the thing. We all kind of go to the same places. Some of us have it a little nicer, but we all go to the same place. And in spirit, we're all equal. And if you've got to have money and wealth to think you're better than somebody, you're very fearful and timid on the inside. Because money is a fictitious material thing. Money is my friend, though. And all the material chattels, it may look good to your ego, but really, how much of that do you really need? See, me, I've learned. I like it. I enjoy it. But it doesn't make me who I am. Money, wealth, and all that stuff is just a conquering ego, know-it-all ignorant minds, stubbornness, and a know-it-all ignorance. See, people, every dime somebody's made in this world, somebody's labored for it. The main thing about the wealthy is they got a third world enslaving mindset, but they learned how to use other people's labor to fill their bank accounts. And you cannot get mad at them for that. You cannot say a word. It's not the money they have. It's how they treat the people that works for them and other things. And every once in a while, you see one of them have to come back down to earth. But that's that third world conquering ego everybody has. We all have it. Women, men, everybody thinks. And then when I hear somebody say, I've got a program for you, when I hear the word program, I scram. A program is nothing more than what somebody else thinks the world should be, what they know, what they learned from somebody else, and the knowledge and thoughts of a puppet. Programming is puppet rhetoric, oppressing everything. So when I hear the word program, I scram. What Cowboy Wisdom Hypno Acuity is, I show you the way I rose out of the manipulation of college education, the third world enslaving mindsets of business, and I learned to listen to my internal savvy boldly energizing, rebellious, adventurous, trend-setting, innovative, optimistic now. That's something I really understand now is when somebody tells me I have a business, business is nothing but a name on a piece of paper, either on the wall or in a file cabinet. And when I really listen, they talk like a puppet out of that file cabinet. What I have is an enterprising, liberating, uh, instigative wisdom. I have liberation, wisdom, and inspiration to show people a better way, to show people they encompass the grit, get, and go to enjoy their life this way. When you stop following the herd and being in the sheepocracy of society, you're going to liberate yourself from yourself. And really, when it all is said and done, what you're really opening yourself up to is liberate you from you. Because it's your third world, it's your ingrained mindsets from your ancestors, third world, and thinking business and education knows the way forward. Business and education is programmed by a silent society that wants the world to follow their programming. And if you look and listen to like Wall Street, you can see the programming. I do once I rose out of it. As I awakened to my sovereign valor to understand war is a business creating mammoth money flow, third world enslaving mindset to and obliviating the wealth of the world. And basically, what it does is steals the wealth of the people. A lot of the laws and stuff we have, it's to steal the wealth of the people. And what I really realize now, history controls today through male conquering ego, know-it-all ignorance, education, and businesses will rise the world, which is really sinking the world back into the rinky-dink of life. As I understand, upheaval and unrest is a comfort zone for the people in power, the silent society, because peace, people can communicate. In unrest, we're afraid to communicate, and that's what the world lives in. So dictator tries so hard to make people like, and one thing about dictator, they're trying so hard to make people like them. The only way they know how to do it is be unsavory and do unsavory things to people to make people like them. The world has zero leadership skills at the top. There's no communicative leadership in this world at the top. The way you'll open up to communicative leadership is in you. Because a dictator is unloved and don't know how to love himself, so that way he puts pain upon the people. As I now understand and admit, the world is stuck in conquering ego stupidity because the world leaders are greedy, selfish, and ignorant towards leadership for the betterment of people. As I now realize the world runs on greedy, seedy fascism. To rise out of the misery of history, we do it in the here and now. And see, I want to really, like when Israel and Iran got into this last skirmish, they didn't have the courage and audacity of the wisdom to communicate their different ways right there. The only way they know how to communicate is in war. And that's kind of what the world is. Because war is the easiest way, is the hardest, but the easiest way for people to communicate because they don't have to communicate. They don't have to, compromise on anything. It's just my way or the highway. And see, something I really understand now is people have zero value to the leadership of the world, except for when they need our money for a tax for campaign contributions. All my conquering ego, third world enslaving mindsets, warmongering passed out of my life 2 minutes ago. And also, as I awaken aware to rise out of my drama, trauma, stress, insecurity, and all funky gunk, as I feel, listen, and witness the instant I feel the funky gunk enters my brain, I drain all the funky gunk from my brain instantly. To understand, I'm the instigator within me to rise, expand of my unique talents and free flowing energy of listening inspiration, ingenious questions, understanding my life experience, and comprehending my daily life, events, encounters through wisdom, insight, and clarity. You rise out of your conquering ego by questioning yourself, listening, and imaging your inspirations in present moment. I am Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom Hypno Acuity and Cowboy Wisdom podcasts. And I really want to thank you for being here. And we'll be here tomorrow night with listening communication. I want to thank you and good night.